Hello, everybody. My name is Douglas Arnold Armstrong. I'm the official head honcho here at Happy Texas Reviews. Thank you if you guys are watching the live stream. If you guys are just watching after the stream ends, thank you guys all also so much for watching. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, join up as a group member if you have not already. And in this review, we are talking about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Interesting fact, real quick. Someone came over yesterday and gave me a snitch. And I'm not going to tell you who, but they are a big fan of Harry Potter along with me, and they've been a big supporter of this channel. And I will mention them later on in the future. On the very front, it has the famous thing from the Harry Potter movies. I believe it's Deathly Hallows Part 2, and on it says I open at the close. So let's see if you guys can actually see that. There is a picture that I put up to update the group site, so you should be able to see the snitch a little better. And so it's just really cool. So moving on with the review, this is, of course, the Goblet of Fire. This is the fourth Harry Potter movie. And we're going to get right into it. This is going to be really short. It's going to be shorter than the past ones, honestly, because this movie is very average. So first of all, this came out in 2005. It's about 2 hours and 37 minutes long. And so we're going to talk about the positives, the negatives, and of course give you guys my final review score. So first of all, I really enjoyed the concept of port keys, where basically nearly anything can be a device, and it be a teleportation device. So it can be a boot, it can be a cup, it can be just think of anything, and it can become a port key that teleports you from one spot to another. And I think that's really cool. The scene at the very beginning of the film, where our main group goes to the World Quidditch Cup match, was really cool. However, we don't get to actually see the Quidditch match itself. We just get to see the build up and anticipation to it, and it immediately cuts from the game actually starting all the way to the ending. And I kind of think that's weird, because I'm like, we've come to expect to see at least something of a Quidditch match in the Harry Potter films. Goblet of Fire is the first movie that doesn't actually show you Harry Potter getting a snitch. It's completely different. And so with that, at the very beginning, you realize that the tone of this film is going to be very different than the first three. The first three were kind of kiddie. Prisoner of Azkaban, it started dabbling into the dark part of the Harry Potter universe. Goblet of Fire is like, okay, the first three films, everyone's a kid. We're getting into the dark stuff. I mean, even there's a scene where Hagrid is like, 4 years ago or whatever, you guys are all just a bunch of misfits and just constantly causing trouble. And now you've grown up, and now you're doing more adult stuff. And I'm like, yay! So clearly they knew that this was supposed to be a darker tone, especially at the very end of the film. Voldemort returns. You obviously realize, okay, kid stuff is over with. The war is coming. Let's get ready for it. Um, Next, I think it's kind of interesting to see the actor from the Twilight in this movie. Just to see the fact that he was in here is still kind of weird, especially considering when the Goblet of Fire came out is right when the Twilight films were still in their baby stage of actually being recognized as something interesting to watch. So that was kind of cool. This film is also littered with jokes. There's just jokes everywhere, both good and bad, but there's still jokes everywhere. The best probably comes from the twin Weasley brothers, George and Freddie. They had the best jokes in this whole film. Also, amazing musical score that works perfectly for all the scenes throughout this whole film. When there's an intense scene, it's got some amazing intense music. When it's calmer times, you actually can feel like you're there because of the musical score that's in the film. And whoever did that did an amazing job. I like the Ron's Aunt Testy or Ron's aunt robes and the whole "Murder Me, Harry," because these things aren't, classic. They're ancient. That whole scene is just hilarious. So yeah, we also get to see the love connection a lot more picking up and growing between Hermione and Ron. It was nice to finally start to see that a little more blossom and whatnot. We also get to see Myrtle, the ghost that's hanging out in the bathroom. She returns for a quick scene from the Chamber of Secrets film. She's in this one. And I also had a really hard time for me to have to swallow this, but I think that this film so far, out of all four that I've watched for this review thing, has the best backstory as a villain. The first three just didn't interest me all that much. This one, I'm like, he's using a potion to make himself look like somebody else, and there's a reason for it. And the whole purpose of the Goblet of Fire and whatnot is this villain trying to accomplish this one goal for Lord Voldemort. And how he goes about doing it is really interesting. His backstory as to why he ends up, you know, becoming a follower of Voldemort is also really cool. And of course, the ending is probably the best part of the film, and the only part that really matters with the Goblet of Fire is, of course, Voldemort comes back from the dead, and he's back in full form, and he's getting his powers back, and Harry Potter and Voldemort have a quick duel. So that was probably the best part. For the negatives, uh, negative wise, this movie is way too long. Everyone, probably myself included, complained that The Prisoner of Azkaban was way too short. It doesn't mean you need to make the next movie super long to make up for that problem. Um, this movie is way too long. The fact that they actually had to try to make this movie 2 hours and 37 minutes long and attempt to compete with the Chamber of Secrets runtime of almost 3 hours is just kind of silly. There's so much in this movie that is just boring and dramatized to death. Next, for negative, 99% of the new characters that are introduced in this film we will never see again in the Harry Potter universe. They're not in the books, they're not talked about or referenced at all in the movies. So the whole point of, Dumbledore at the end of this film being like, it's super important that we build friendships and bonds. There's possibly a dark time coming. A war might break out soon. We need to all be able to stand together as the good guys and all that stuff. And I'm like, Dumbledore, we're really? Because no one showed up in Deathly Hallows in the Battle of Hogwarts. I'm like, hello? Where is everyone? You guys are all terrible friends. Next, we only get to see Sirius Black, a major character in Prisoner of Azkaban. He's only in one scene, and we don't even get the full actor. He's just hanging out in a fire pit. We get to see the face of Sirius Black in a fire pit. I'm like, really? That is it? Like, you built up this character, the Prisoner of Azkaban, Sirius Black, as the main problem of Prisoner of Azkaban film, and then in the next movie, because he's still alive, you literally treat him like dumpster fire. I couldn't help that one. Sorry. This movie also has loads of unnecessary love stories that are all happening at once that absolutely go nowhere. Like Ginny and Neville Longbottom, they go to the Christmas dance thing, and I'm like, for a fact that even if you haven't read the books, that that's not going to live long. Also, the Christmas dance in this film, oh, I had to fast forward through that because I've seen it so many times. It's just high school nonsense. It's bizarre and weird. Even the setup towards it is bizarre and weird, and I'm just like, this is nice. This is a nightmare. Like, why did this have to be in Harry Potter to begin with? Because it's boring. Also, the villain behind the mask, quote unquote, in this film, and most of what's going to happen at the end of the movie, at the beginning of the movie. So the whole suspense and who did it kind of thing and mystery that's going on, it's non-existent as long as you have a brain on your shoulders. You know how this film's going to end, and if you don't see the ending coming from a mile away, then you're probably either super drunk or you fell asleep at the beginning of the movie, which I really don't blame you. Also, I don't understand why this scene is in the movie because I honestly don't think it's in the book. But there's a scene where I can't remember her name. There's a scene where someone eats a strand of Hagrid's hair. I please leave a comment in the comment section as to why this person in the film ate a piece of Hagrid's hair, because it doesn't add anything to the story. And both the actor and actress, they're both like looking at each other like, yeah, we had to do this. We don't know why, because it doesn't add anything to relevance or anything good to the plot. It's just we had to do this for some reason. Like, I don't understand why it actually exists. So yeah, apparently people enjoy eating Hagrid's hair. I don't get it. Also, this film somehow magically. Oh yeah, I did that. This film magically breaks the rules and the laws of how ghost physics work. Uh, Myrtle the ghost is literally putting her head on Harry Potter's shoulder, and somehow her head doesn't fall through into his body like a ghost should. So either ghosts can like vapor through everything, or ghosts are just like dead floating zombies with color schemes. It's weird. If you've seen this movie, you know what scene I'm talking about. It makes no sense. Um Also, this movie is just honestly, it's average, it's easily forgettable, and this movie honestly is really boring. It's kind of like the middle ground between, like I said, the first three films were kiddie and testing the waters. This movie is like, okay, we're gonna have a little more kiddie, then a bit of dark tone at the end, and then the rest of the films that are going to come after it straight into the darkness. This movie had that problem. It's like, okay, it has like two different tones and things going on at once, and you can definitely tell that that's a problem. Um, and like, I don't know if I said this earlier, but I honestly fell asleep halfway through this movie while watching it. I'm just like, this is so boring. This movie's boring. I sure I know Order of Phoenix is going to be so much better than this. I hope it is. So, with that, guys, I'm going to give Goblet of Fire a 6.5 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next review.